Hello, friends. Welcome in, one and all. My name is Matt Muirphy, and conveniently, this is the Matt Muirphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, or at least last time I checked. It is Friday. It is August 22, 2025. You probably know these things by now. Did you know that it's episode 870 of our gatherings together, not only in the afternoons? We started it from noon until 3. More on that in just a moment. And now we're from 3 until 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're pleased and proud that each and every one of you have decided to join us. And I hope at some point over the next 4 hours, hopefully all of the 4 hours, but at least at a point or another, to inform, educate, amuse, entertain. I mean, my job is to keep you here through these wonderful commercial advertisements, and I hope to do my job every single moment of this Friday afternoon. It's First Amendment Freestyle Friday. We will be opening up the phones in a couple of minutes. They are not open right now, so do not try them, for I have a lot to say to you people, and you're going to sit there and you're going to like it. But before I say anything, we'll get the pleasantries out of the way. I've already started them, 870 episodes today. You can find us on Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart. We're on a multitude of apps. I mean, really, if there's an app that streams music or news or information and they're not streaming us, let us know and we'll get on there. We have our own, as a matter of fact, that you can check out, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. That's a good place to go to find all of the shows, from Dan Mandis and Nashville's Morning News to Chris Hand to Chad Benson, Matt Muirphy, and the rest. And then there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. And it's nice. I did not get asked 4 seconds before the show, and no offense to the non-present Jackson. We call him Fraction Jackson because you get about half what you ask for. We say that in love. I did not get asked like 3 or 4 seconds before the show started, hey, what are we going to call the show today on the television side of things, which is nice. Because I don't know, and then that puts me in a weird mood, and I'm like, I'm under pressure here. What are you asking me this for? My man, who's behind the glass today, he just went ahead and did it, which I kind of like. Now, speaking of my man, he left. Did the guy behind you leave? No, he's there.
Ken's still there.
All right, we're going to say hello to the one and only, the news guru, the man in the magic corner closet, Ken Weaver. Hello, Ken.
How about you boys?
Ken, I've got something to tell you.
What's that?
It's football season.
Yes, sir. Football.
It is. And that's good. That's a good thing. I have something else to tell you. Or
What's
ask
that?
you. Is it been a busy day back there in the newsroom?
Yes, I'm doing traffic today, too.
Holy shnikes. We got like 14 different people doing 14 different duties, to include the gentleman that I wanted to reintroduce to the program. I'm so pleased. Do we have some sort of, I feel like I've got to build this up and maybe build it up to a cricket sounder or something. Because it is the triumphant return of Headless Belkay. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Thought you'd like that.
Hey, Val.
Hey.
What's been going on?
I'm just going to hang out for 4 hours.
Where you been? I hadn't
over
seen
there.
You. I hadn't seen you in a while.
Over there.
I never see you. You have been over there. Love to have you back, brother. It's good to see you.
Yes, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we'll have a good time today, I hope. I'm in a mood. I've got like 14 different bad things happening to me all at once, which makes for a great radio show. At least I hope that it does. We'll find out together. You can hit us up on the super text line. Not on the phone lines right now, but on the super text line, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. And eventually we'll open up those phone lines. It's Friday at 4 o'clock in about 50 minutes or so. I've got a number of things to talk to St. Clair about, to include the removal of this $500 million fine. Donald Trump was fined that amount of money when he was found, quote unquote, guilty of crimes in New York City. And old Big Tish has another loss in her column, as an appellate court has ruled against Big Tish in that judgment against Donald Trump. Big win for Trump. Big win for Trump at SCOTUS. And there was an interesting reaction by Ketanji Brown Jackson that I'll go over with Jay as well, because this seems out of bounds to me. Ketanji Brown Jackson is not seeing fit to just dissent in some of these cases. The woman does not seem to understand her role as a United States Supreme Court justice. But who am I to say? But I would say this, that in an unprecedented fashion, she's not only dissenting on the merits of the case, she's also pointing fingers at her fellow justices and basically accusing them of bias, which I don't know that there's a lot that they can do about it except to continue to rule on the merits of these cases and on the rule of law and on the Constitution of the United States of America, which is what they seem to be doing. So we will discuss that with Jay St. Clair in the 4 o'clock hour today. So we got a couple of stories. What do you got over there, Ken? I saw you. Was that you?
What's that?
Oh no, I just heard you bang. I thought you came on the radio to say something. I apologize.
Oh no, I was just I'm back now, and yeah,
I thought you were banging for emphasis. Put the emphasis on the right syllable.
It's
I
a
got
day,
words.
boys.
I got words.
It's a day, boys. It is a day.
Do we know, Ken? I have not kept up with it in the last 2 hours.
Yes, sir.
Been out of pocket. Do we know where Kilmar Abrego Garcia is?
Last I heard, he is on his way to Maryland.
Okay, so I'm not so sure I understand this. Like, did they secret him away in a fashion where Immigration and Customs Enforcement was not aware of it, or the Department of Homeland Security? Am I missing something? Was it not the determination of the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement that they were going to detain him above and beyond what this judge has decided for release on the merits of that human trafficking case, which he is charged with? It's my understanding that ICE was going to detain him on the ICE detainer itself upon release. Why didn't we do that?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that was my understanding too.
So, I mean, either the judge in the case, I mean, was ICE not ready? Did they not anticipate this? We heard that he might get released like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
We heard that the possibility existed that he would get released today. It was, yesterday that I think the Tennessee Star reported that he asked the federal magistrate in Tennessee to issue an order restraining ICE ahead of his anticipated release date. And I don't believe that this judge in this case did that. But then there's a lot of questions, and I don't know that I have any answers for it. But why in the world was ICE not ready to apprehend him? Maybe they're just going to wait in Maryland and apprehend him there. Maybe they will detain him in Maryland where he is.
I do know that judge in Maryland ordered a 72-hour heads up before they deport.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but, I mean, detain it. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, detain and deport, obviously a couple of different things, right? I mean,
yeah.
So I just don't I don't understand a lot of this. But Abrego Garcia is apparently out of jail, and apparently, according to reports, we don't really know, but apparently is heading back to Maryland. There might be some good news for me to report to you today on the fairground situation. I've heard a number of good reports that there perhaps is a deal close with the Metro Council and Bristol Motor Speedway and their parent company, International Motorsports or Motorsports International. I can never remember the parent company name, but it's Bristol Motor Speedway. Just say it that way. Apparently, we are closer than ever to a deal that reportedly John Ingram will not like, and do-gooder leftists will not like. So that means good things for the city of Nashville, in my opinion. I'll tell you what some of those details are.
Will we have any license plate readers at the Speedway?
We're going to get back to you on that, Bill. So we're going to get back to you. We don't believe that we have enough studies on that.
Oh, okay. We've got to do a few more of those.
We got to do a few more studies. You know what we ought to do in Nashville to maybe calm some of the fears from our civil libertarian friends and the political left that don't want any patrolling of any of the crime-ridden areas in Nashville. Maybe we should do a pilot program for the license plate readers where we set up license plate readers, in a limited fashion and really study that pilot program and then bring back the reports of the pilot program to the council so that they could make a better decision as to whether or not to have LPRs. Maybe we should do that, Bell.
I thought we did that.
So you're saying, wait a minute.
We did do that. You're messing with me.
So you're saying we did that?
Yes, we did that.
Yeah, of course we did that. God bless it. People, yes, we did that. And now all is left is to bring the contracts for the individual. By the way, the council already approved all of this, all of the LPR stuff. They've approved all of it, except the individual contracts with the specific companies that are to run the LPRs. I will endeavor, and I've already started this effort, I will endeavor to have a member of the Mount Juliet law enforcement community on with me next week to talk about the Mount Juliet program and why it is so successful and what civil liberties, because I had a couple of people ask me about this. I'm a libertarian with a small L. I do not belong to the Libertarian Party. The Libertarian Party is a bunch. Well, never mind. I won't go into that. But I just don't belong to any club that would have me as a member. But I do believe in the political philosophy of libertarianism. That is basically just leave me the hell alone unless someone else is violating my rights. And then I expect that civilized society will step in through a law and order process and protect those rights that I am guaranteed by God and by the Constitution of the United States. That said, there are some civil libertarians that are like, I'm not so sure about LPRs. Does it protect my rights? We're gonna have somebody from Mount Juliet to come on to give us the explainer for all of that a little bit later on, maybe next week sometime. The nasty Democrats have revealed their true colors yet again. How many times do we have to see it? There's a story coming out of Virginia involving gubernatorial candidate. By the way, potentially my favorite word in the English language. I don't think I've ever said this on Nashville radio. Gubernatorial is the most fun word you'll ever say in your life. Just say it wherever you are.
Gubernatorial?
Just get it out. Get every little syllable out there.
Gubernatorial.
Gubernatorial.
Have you used it on All the Best Words?
I have not.
Ooh.
I will. I mean, Marcia and John and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a party in my mouth and everyone's invited. Gubernatorial. The gubernatorial candidate. It's even better when you throw candidate in there on the end.
Oh, don't get pulled over by a cop when that's in your mouth.
Gubernatorial. Ha! So what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Gubernatorial candidate Winsome Sears, who happens to be an African-American female and a conservative Republican. Democrats have shown their true colors in that race with a nasty, nasty sign. And as far as I can tell, it's been now 20 hours and counting, and not a peep from her political candidate condemning the racially charged sign that was present at a Winsome Sears event. I believe that this guarantees Winsome Sears a victory. I think she was pretty much guaranteed anyway. We'll talk about that today as well. And then there's this, and Jay and I will discuss, and Jay's got info on this because I gave him the heads up. Did you see, for those of you excited about the beginning of the foosball season, did you see where Neyland Stadium over in Knoxville is going cashless? And I want to know how that's permissible.
You mean in terms of them being able to reject legal tender?
Mm-hmm. Now, I understand a private business can do that. A private business can set up their transaction process in any way they want because, as it says on your money, that the legal tender is good for all debts. Public and private. Debts is key. So before you incur a debt, I can tell you the payment options that I'm willing to receive. And if cash is not a part of that payment option, as long as I'm a private citizen, then, if I want you to pay me in chickens, I can get you to pay me in chickens. We can barter for whatever service or good I'm providing you. But this is a public accommodation, right? I mean, the University of Tennessee is a public university. They accept public money. They accept taxpayer money. And so I think that would be different. But I'm not sure. Jay perhaps will help us out with that on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Kamala's coming to the Ryman. Y'all see that? Cackling Kamala right there on the stage. Right there in the famous circle. Yeah. The Ryman Auditorium was never a church. Although they had church services there. It was not built to be a church. It was built to be an auditorium. And I understand that its history led to its nickname, the Mother Church of country music. I feel like had it originated as a church, that it might burn down when Lion Kamala Harris walks on stage. Like a little lightning strike action or something like that. But she's coming to Nashville, and she's also going to Alabama, and they've sold out the Alabama Theater in Birmingham. I bet they'll sell out the Ryman Auditorium. You get a free book.
That's what I'm curious about is I want to hear what she has to say because this is basically how I lost the presidential election tour.
Right. How I took, in 107 days, an opportunity to be the first female president of the United States of America and flushed it in the toilet by Kamala Harris.
And came out $20 million in debt.
It burned through like $1.5 billion and was in debt at the end. She had like over $1 billion. Over $1 billion. It's like Kamala's Millions. Y'all remember the movie Brewster's Millions? He had to spend $30 million in 30 days. That was back when $30 million
and
was
have
a lot of
nothing
money.
to show for it.
And have nothing to show for it. At the end, if you don't remember the premise of Brewster's Millions, Richard Pryor's character, Brewster, learns that his granddad was a gajillionaire and had no heirs. He was his only heir, and his granddad's dead now, but he's going to give him $300 million that's his inheritance. But he doesn't want him to blow it. He wants to teach him how to save his money. So he forces him to go through $30 million in 30 days without anything to show for it to make him hate spending money. He compared it to having to smoke, I think, a box of cigars in a closet when his dad caught him smoking cigars. And so Brewster has to do that, but he can't tell anybody that he's doing it, and so everyone thinks he's crazy. I would not be surprised if Kamala Harris was not a part of that same experiment in 107 days. Where, hey, blow through over $1 billion in campaign money. I mean, just spend it hey, Beyonce, you want $8 million to come to my event? You don't even have to sing. Come on. Because singing would show some sort of work product. No. Just come on over. Oh, a podcast that no one's ever heard of? What was that podcast like? Daddy Meets Girl or something? It was weird. It's weird.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name.
I think I'm close.
Girl Meets Daddy, or
it's
something like that.
It's something icky. It's something like I'm not going anywhere near that.
Yeah, it's like when you hear it, you're like, ooh.
I don't want to get a knock on my door on a Saturday morning like John Bolton. Hey, John Bolton got raided. That's good news, too. And the Department of Justice has released a transcript and audio of its interview with Ghislaine Maxwell and sends Epstein records to a House committee. I don't think you leftists are going to be happy about this at all. I'll share some of the excerpts coming up in just a moment. Call her daddy. Thank you very much. And yes, it is as creepy as I remembered it. It is 24 after the hour. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And the Justice Department has turned over thousands of Jeffrey Epstein documents to the House Oversight Committee. We'll let you know about that and other top stories coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, I have to repair something really quickly, and because I misspoke, and I apologize. I don't like to misspeak. So I said that the Ryman Auditorium was never a church. It was never exclusively a church, and it's my apology. I overlooked a major part of this, right? That Tom Ryman was inspired by a guy. I've gone to the history of the Ryman at the Ryman, so I should know this. Tom Ryman was inspired by an evangelical preacher that came to Nashville, and he didn't like the fact that the evangelical preacher was preaching under a tent, and so he built the Union Gospel Tabernacle for the purpose of giving him a place to preach. So in that, what I meant was, and I misspoke. It's on me. It's on me, everybody. My intention was to say that it was never built to be exclusively a church. In other words, it was never a method. You know what I'm saying? It was never built as, it was built for the purpose of holding gospel events and church-based revival events. But it also, throughout its lifetime, held other events. It was a community center of sorts. It held community events and lectures and fundraisers and meetings and musical performances from the beginning, 1892. So I apologize that I misspoke on that front. I'll try to do better next time. We sincerely apologize and regret the error. It's 30 minutes after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. $6837 is very angry at me. Let me know when I can release these phone calls there, Bell. It is a First Amendment Freestyle Friday after all. I just want to make sure that you're all good in there with everything you've got going on. Don't, says 6837, say you misspoke. You were wrong. You're very confident in what you were saying. It was just wrong. I was not, well, I mean, if you want to say I was wrong, that's fine. We were talking about Ryman Auditorium. What I was originally to believe is that it was built like as a church. Like that's all it was and that's all it did. But that's never all it was and it was never all it did. I don't know why you're so mad. Don't be mad.
I've known you for a while now, and to my knowledge, I think the last time you were actually wrong was early 70s.
No. I was wrong. I was wrong at least once when you were on the show. But I blamed you. But I'm pretty sure I was wrong. But I blamed you. Hey, it was Belle's fault. Belle told me there was never a church. So it's Belle's fault. Now, I went to I've been to the Ryman on any number of occasions. I've done the Ryman tour a couple of times when I had folks in town. I've sat there, you go up in there and you go in the little room and they do the holograms and stuff. Pretty cool. I forget the woman's name that ran the show for so long. Some of y'all on the Super Text line can remind me of the name. I don't want to get it wrong. But she really made the Ryman what it was. Tom Ryman, who was inspired to build the structure, he was inspired by he was like a godless man, and he was inspired to God by a tent revival, and that was kind of his inspiration to build the facility, but it was always used as a multi-use facility. That was my point. It wasn't exclusively a church. And I apologize. I sincerely apologize if I spoke incorrectly. But at the time, it was like the largest structure in Nashville, and it was used for a lot of different things. But then he died in the early 1900s, and what was her name? Now I'm going to have to look it up because I'm going to be bothered by it if I don't. It was, somebody will tell me. Somebody knows. It was a woman took over, and she ran the show until the 1950s and truly made it what it was and ran it with an iron fist. And she would crack the whip, and it was her way or the highway kind of thing. And she's the one that got the Grand Ole Opry or made the connection with the Grand Ole Opry, et cetera. Anyway, somebody out there knows, and somebody out there can tell me on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. All right, let's be real clear here. Waffle House is superior to Cracker Barrel in almost every single way, except for the possible recent development that Cracker Barrel now serves alcohol. Although I would point to Cracker Barrel's decision to sell alcohol as maybe a tipping point in their existence. Now, I don't care one way or the other, because if I'm looking to go to brunch and get liquored up on mimosas or Bloody Marys, I'm not going to Cracker Barrel. I'm not knocking Cracker Barrel and what they are. I've just never been that big of a fan because I'm a Waffle House guy. Now, I come at this honestly. I went to school at West Georgia College in Carrollton, Georgia, starting in 1991. And I accepted a job at the Waffle House in Carrollton in 1993. I worked there a couple of years while I was in college. I was a third shift guy. And then eventually I left college. I got a couple of other jobs. I was a ne'er-do-well for a hot minute. And then I moved back to Athens, Georgia. I was thinking about continuing my education in graduate school, but I decided instead to become a manager of a Waffle House. I had nothing better to do, and I was convinced that in a short few years I could be even a district manager of a Waffle House or an area manager of a Waffle House. And that's like 9 Waffle Houses you're over. That's big money. But I've always been a Waffle House guy. Waffle House kind of turned my stomach when they started serving biscuits. Ugh. Awful. Yeah. I don't understand. The Waffle House doesn't have ovens. How can you serve biscuits if you don't have ovens? Waffle House should serve 3 types of carbs besides hash browns. White bread, wheat bread, and raisin toast. That's it. That's your toast options. That's your bread options at Waffle House, or at least in Muirphy world. But anyway, so I just want you to know that I'm a Waffle House guy when I come at this. However, I've been to one of these Cracker Barrels that have already we've been watching this happen for the last several years, right? Where the Mount Juliet Waffle House has already converted interior. I'm sorry, the Mount Juliet Cracker Barrel is already converted. I don't have. Yeah, you're right. That's so well said, Sally. I just glanced over to the Super Text line. Sally says, Cracker Barrel may serve alcohol, but everybody knows Waffle House is BYOB. That's damn right. Look, Waffle House is America's place to eat breakfast, and Waffle House is America's place to go get in a fist fight at 2:30 in the morning, and I stand by that statement. My name is Matt Muirphy, and I approve this statement. If you want to get into a drunken brawl at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, Waffle House is your place. And if you want a delicious, triple over light plate, scatter smother covered chunk topped, you can get it at Waffle House too. Or you can eat those nasty grits. It's up to you. I think I told you one time when we were doing the show that I did the math. Now, this is 1995 math, so it's 30 years old now, and I'm sure the math has changed. But we would buy, all of the Waffle Houses were responsible for their own income and their own outflow. So you were kind of self-sustaining in that regard, and you were expected to return to the parent company like 20%. That's after all of your costs. So you would have to, as a manager of Waffle House, go over food cost, operating cost, payroll cost, all of that. And from a food cost perspective, I knew what everything that came into my store cost me, whether it came from Waffle House corporate, which a lot of the food did, like the hash browns, for example, or whether you were sourcing it locally, like eggs would be sourced locally. Bread would be sourced relatively locally, except for the raisin bread. That's a different thing. So I did the math. And in 1995, one of the cheapest things that you could get at Waffle House was an order of eggs, toast, and grits. That item on the Waffle House menu at that time cost $2.35. 2 eggs, toast, and grits. And I asked you this one time, Bell. You know what the food cost of that order is to Waffle House?
I vaguely remember us discussing this, and I think my guess, because it's stuck in my head for some reason, I think my guess was 60 cents.
Your guess was 60 cents. I remember that. And I told you that it was 9 cents.
Which is a little surprising, but
cents.
That's a pretty good profit margin.
Well, the grits, the grits are nothing, right? The grits are like 60 cents a bag, and you can make 100 servings out of a bag or whatever. So the grits are absolutely nothing. It's all about the eggs and the toast. And the toast and the eggs are virtually nothing and I did that by subdividing. You do get a gross of eggs, and then you kind of, you divide it down, and it costs you X amount. Bottom line is this, the cost of running a restaurant comes in payroll. And especially when you're looking at those lower tiered food items. So that's just an interesting fun fact about Waffle House. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. Cracker Barrel, I don't pretend to know it as well as you guys do, because obviously you guys have been around, and Cracker Barrel started in Lebanon, Tennessee, as we well know. So this is kind of near and dear to our hearts. They now have almost 700 locations nationwide. I don't have a problem with the interior redesign. I know a lot of you do, but I don't. I understand. As a matter of fact, I get it, the interior redesign. The entire premise of Cracker Barrel is that we are talking about our roots, the roots of the South. It was presented as an old country store, right? So you walk in, and there's a general store atmosphere as you walk in, and then lo and behold, look here, you can go have some dinner beside the old fireplace. And you can look at the old lanterns and washboards on the wall. Washboards, as they call them. And, all the old-timey advertising and paraphernalia from the old country. It was nostalgic in the 1970s and 1980s to look back on the 1930s, right? But now in 2025, there's nobody alive that was around back then to be nostalgic for that era. So I understand from a presentational standpoint why you would take an opportunity at some point in your existence to modernize the building, to modernize the interior, to lighten it up. I don't have a problem with any of that. I have a significant problem with the logo change, because the logo change is indicative of attempting to run away from where you came from. If you want to modernize the nostalgia factor and bring it from the 1930s to the 1960s, I'm fine with that. And I think reasonable people would be fine with that. But eliminating Uncle Herschel, eliminating the Cracker Barrel, don't tell, they turned it on its side, Matt, the new logo. Shut up. I guarantee you, I was thinking about this. because the logo elimination is clearly a DEI moment. And I know Robbie Starbuck is exposing a couple of other things interior to the running of the modern Cracker Barrel that is going to cause a lot of problems. Cracker Barrel needs to take it. If anybody in Cracker Barrel management is listening to this radio show, y'all need to do this right now. Modernize the interior of your locations. That's fine. Brighten it up. Put 1960s stuff on the walls. Eliminate the 1920s and 1930s stuff. I'm fine with all of that. Nobody knows what that hacksaw was for to begin with. Nobody knows what that washboard is for anyway. Yeah, eliminate all of that stuff and modernize it and be nostalgic about the 1960s. But you better damn well leave the logo alone. If you have an ounce of intelligence in your bodies, you will come out with a public statement today, not tomorrow, not next week, and you will say, we've heard our patrons, our customers, loud and clear. And we are not removing Uncle Herschel from the logo.
The new logo looks like it belongs to a motel or something.
I said this to someone earlier today. I was talking to a radio station in Chattanooga today, and I was like, if you didn't know what Cracker Barrel meant, like if you didn't know that was a restaurant, it could be a logo for a storage place or a barrel store.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Right? So, yeah, no, you're exactly right. The motel's a good one. Come stay at the Cracker Barrel. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Keep the logo, folks. If anyone in public relations is listening to what is happening, you're about to get Bud Lighted. I'm telling you, you're about to get burned in the fashion of Bud Light. And I don't know if you meant it that way or not, but if you have any sense as to who actually walks through your doors and eats that delicious hash brown casserole, you might want to rethink all of this.
When when the CEO was doing that interview that's kind of gone around now, she really sounded like she knew there was a problem with the logo and she was trying her best to pitch it, and she knew she had to sell it.
Yeah, that interview with Michael Strahan was just embarrassing all the way around because it was clear that, I mean, how many times before this lady became CEO of Cracker Barrel do you think she willingly walked into a Cracker Barrel to eat? I would bet you 0. I bet you before she was CEO of Cracker Barrel that she did not doing research and not thinking that she was going to get the job. I'm talking about 10 years before she was CEO of Cracker Barrel. I guarantee you this woman would never think to walk in to the doors of a Cracker Barrel because that was beneath her. That's the way she came off. And Michael Strahan looked like he wanted to be anywhere other than doing that interview. And that's the problem. I was watching, real quick, this reminds me of something I was watching on Tennessee Public Radio, Tennessee Public Television last night. Not radio, television last night. It was a special about Opryland. And they were re-airing this Opryland special. And I wanted to know, what Opryland was all about. And Opryland was a very special place between 1972 and 1997. And people to this moment are angry about its closure. Do y'all know why it closed? Because the CEO that was involved in the creation of Opryland, the CEO of what is now, I think, called Ryman Hospitality Group, which was previously called Gaylord Hospitality or whatever, he retired. And the new CEO, who was the chief financial officer, came in and had nothing to do with the creation of Opryland, had no sentimental attachment, had no idea what it meant to this or any other community, and just decided, we're not in the amusement park business anymore. We're in the hospitality business now. Now, there were some other factors involved. They were landlocked and they couldn't grow. One of the problems that I learned about Opryland last night was that because they were landlocked, they had the Cumberland River on one side, Briley Parkway on one side, and the Gaylord Hotel on the other. It was a triangle. And they couldn't grow. So anytime they wanted to add a new attraction, they had to tear one down, and that was a problem for Opryland. It was an overcomable problem, but one that they didn't want to deal with. And so they just dismissed the nostalgia effect. They dismissed how much it meant to the community because it didn't mean anything to them. This CEO of Cracker Barrel makes me think of the same thing, that she doesn't care about Cracker Barrel because she doesn't care about Cracker Barrel. And that's the problem with hiring these snotty New York CEOs. And I don't know where this woman's from. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. I love our listening audience. Somebody just wrote, was it the 1973 Christmas special? I was in that. It was not. It was a special looking back on the days of Opryland, like 10 years after it closed or 12 years after it closed. All that to say, I want to say this. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here for you fellas when you need them. And I want to talk to you guys. And I know that this is a sensitive subject. I know that it is a tender subject, if you will. But gentlemen, if you have lost the verve, the vigor in the bedroom, it can impact your relationship. It can impact your mental health. It can impact your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help for you. Since 2014, Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of men get back to feeling like themselves, get back to life. First in Midtown, even before it was called Midtown, then in Cool Springs, and now in Clarksville, 3 separate locations right here in Middle Tennessee. So no matter where you are, north, south, or in between, expert care is close by. Do not believe in these cookie-cutter treatments that you find online. You need to get analyzed, and you need to get diagnosed from a urologist at Tennessee Men's Clinic. They're urology-based, and they are staffed with multiple licensed providers that can help you. Gentlemen, let's get back into the ball game. Don't wait another moment. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com and schedule an appointment or call 615-208-9090 for any questions. 208-9090, Tennessee Men's Clinic.